Okay, we're going to continue on with these triangles, and this video is going to be really basic just to give you the idea of how to construct triangles and then how we find the missing side. You might know how to find the missing side already, but one thing I really want to show you in here is how to actually create these triangles using a protractor. So I know you don't have one at home. Now if you happen to have one, great, you can go get it, a ruler and protractor if you happen to have those. If not, that's totally fine. I just want to walk you through this just so you've seen how to use a protractor to create triangles. But I do not expect you to use these at all. I just want you to have seen it. So our example is going to be that they're telling us to create a triangle that has two angles, one that's 30 degrees, one that's 80 degrees, and a side length that is 2 inches. Now it doesn't necessarily matter where these things are, we just need to make sure we include those 3 things because those are the constraints that they're giving us. So I want to talk through how you would use this. So the very first thing you would do is with a ruler, and a lot of times protractors will even come with like a small section of a ruler on the bottom, so you can always use that if it's long enough. In this case it is, so what I started doing was when you look at a protractor, it always has this little dot in the middle, and so I first just drew a 2-inch line, right? So right here is a 2-inch side, because, sorry, that end's a little funky, because that's one of the constraints they gave us, and so we need to make sure we include that to get started. And you always need a line to get started with your angles. So then what we did, now you can pick whichever side to start on, but you see how I've got like a point here on this side of the line and then a point here. You can start on either one of those. I chose to start here. And I'm going to do the 30-degree angle first. It really doesn't matter which one you do, the 30 or the 80. You just need to make sure you're including both. So the way you do it on a protractor is you put the dot that's on this protractor on, right on the end of one of those lines. And then when you look at the numbers, the top numbers go from small to big, bottom numbers go from big to small. When you look left to right, it doesn't matter which one you do, you just need to pay attention to which angle you're doing, right? So like, for example, if I have my dot here and I'm trying to do a 30-degree angle, I know I can't be using this 30 over here because that's going to be bigger than 90 degrees, right? The 90 degrees is right here, and if I'm going this way, it's going to end up being bigger. So I obviously am not using that 30, I'm using this one. And so you just match that up, you make a little mark, and then you can use this straight edge to draw that line. So that creates our 30-degree angle there. Okay, so that would be the start of what we would do. We've got our 2-inch line, and we drew our 30-degree angle. Again, if it's hard for you to visualize this because you don't have one in front of you, that's okay. I'm just exposing you to this so you've seen it at the very least, okay? So then we need to also draw our 80-degree angle for the other side. Because that was the other constraint they gave us. So we still have our 2-inch line right here. We have our 30-degree, I'm going to kind of label these parts for you real quick. So we've got, this is the same 2 inches that we had, and then we have our 30-degree angle right there. And so now we're going to use the other side of the line to create our 80 degrees, okay? We don't know, we just kind of drew our lines straight off because we weren't exactly sure where they would meet up, so we can always erase the extra when we get there. But I've got to use this point right here, and we want 80 degrees, so we're going to be using this 80 degrees on the top instead, because if I use the 80 over here, it's actually going to be an obtuse angle, and that's not what we want. So you got to look at that perspective, right? So we draw it there, and so then we create a triangle that looks something like this. So we've got our 2 inches here, our 30 degrees here, and now we just created an 80-degree angle right there. And so let me show you kind of a more finished product. So this is essentially what our triangle looks if we were to erase those extras, okay? So that's just how you use a protractor to do that. I don't expect you to have that down perfect. I'm not going to ask you to do that. Again, it was just to show you. This was the main takeaway from this video, is how do we find the missing angle for a triangle? Well, the first thing that we need to know is that all angles of a triangle must add up to 180. So if we have 30 and 80 already, the missing side is going to have to get us to a total of 180 degrees, okay? Just a quick fun fact, rectangles, squares, any other quadrilateral is 360 degrees is what the angles add up to. So for example, if you look at a square or a rectangle, all sides would be 90 degrees. 90 times 4 angles gives you that 360. That's how we'd get that, right? So then if I have like a parallelogram or something like that, those angles are just going to be adjusted because it's on a slant. But all of those are 360 degrees, and a triangle is half of a quadrilateral. That's why it's 180, because 180 is half of 360. I just wanted you to know that. So, because that's how we get that number. So, real simple, once you know that tidbit, you're going to first add up the two angles you do know, so 30 plus 80 gives you 110, and then you just take that away from 180 to get 70. That's it. So this missing side is going to be 70 degrees. Okay, so you have an IXL to go try. You're more than welcome to go back and watch this, but this was the main takeaway for the IXL. I also just wanted to show you the protractor so you were aware of that. But otherwise, go ahead and try the IXL to practice finding that missing angle. Good luck. You got this.